Hello, my friends, and welcome back to the channel. I realized that I had been using ChatLLM for 1 year now, an entire year. It is really hard to believe, but it has been an entire year. I signed up in November of 2024, and it is now November of 2025. So I wanted to tell you guys my no holds barred opinions about ChatLLM. So in case you have the patience of a squirrel like I do, I'm going to tell you up front who I think ChatLLM is great for. I think ChatLLM is great for people like me who like to be able to jump between all of the newest models pretty quickly to kind of get an idea of the look and feel in that model. I personally don't use big models like this that much. I do most of my LLM use on small private models. So when I come and use the big models, it's mostly to try and get an understanding of what something's doing, or I use other features of ChatLLM. So I think that ChatLLM is perfect for people who like to explore the big models, but aren't really looking to do tons of work every single day with the big models. If you want to do that, I think that you may run into the credit limits here. So that said, it is awesome for exploring. If you want to do a little image generation sometimes, it's great for that. If you want to do some deep research sometimes, it's great for that. The PowerPoints and stuff are cool to create. They're kind of fun. It gives you a nice little jump start. And then it also has a whole bunch of other features like video generation. You can set up tasks, things like that. They also have this new desktop app, but I haven't tried it yet. So long story short, if you just use LLMs a little bit and you like to jump between them, ChatLLM is awesome for you. If you are a very heavy LLM user of the big major models, I think you may be able to find other resources that might be cheaper. I haven't actually priced it out, so I don't know that for sure, but I can tell you this for a fact. My least favorite thing about ChatLLM is when I am plugging away on something, working on some code or something like that my local models can't handle, and I hit 3/4 of the way through my credits for the month, and it basically won't let me use the model that I wouldn't work with anymore. Instead, it kicks you over to this route LLM thing, and then it sends you to one of the smaller models. Now, I personally don't like that. That drives me bonkers. I would rather be able to use all of my credits until they're expired for the month, until I've used all of them, and then just have it stop working. But that's not the way that it's set up to work as of the last time I bumped into my credit limit, which may have been last month. It might have been the month before. I don't know. But as of now, that drives me crazy. So, that little overview aside, let's jump into some of the things that are freaking awesome about ChatLLM, okay? First and foremost, they have this thing called Deep Agent. Let's check this out. So, Deep Agent is pretty cool. I'm not going to actually have it run because it takes a little while to do its whole thing, but it can help you set up a website or an app. Or so they have examples here of Stripe integrated website, RAG chatbot, a processing API, all of these really cool things that you could use some sort of agentic workflow for. Deep Agent is actually remarkably good at this. I'll just say I've been pretty impressed with what it can do. Let me see. So you can see I tried it out here back in April, and I think that's around the time it was first introduced. Let me see if I can actually get this app to show up. I haven't gone into this in a very, very, very long time, but this was like when this Deep Agent thing first came out. I can show you basically what my prompt was and what it came up with, because at the time I was pretty impressed with it. So I said I wanted to create a web app to help a friend manage a business. They have a landscaping business. I want to input, these different things. And it actually came up with an app that I never actually launched it. I just kept it in here to see what it would come up with. And it works pretty well. So it has all of the things that I asked for: total jobs, mileage, hours. You can put in your jobs on this tab. You can see the schedule. You can see the routes, the reports, the settings. I'm not clicking on those right now because I don't remember if I put in actual addresses, and you get the general idea. So it built all this in basically one shot. You can see it asked some clarification questions, and then I answered them, and it basically built it. So pretty cool that it can do this. I hadn't really used anything agentic to that point, so it was really kind of fun seeing how that worked. And I have used it more recently than that. You can see I used it in September for building out just some ideas on a web app for data extraction, and it worked pretty well for that too. Now, one of the challenges that we had in regards to ChatLLM in the past is the idea of folders, and can you actually have folders? So let me go back to ChatLLM here, and we do actually have folders in here. I just didn't know it before, but it's called projects. So within projects, you can create chats, and you can create new projects. You can set up specific things for within here, who it's shared with, etc. I really don't use this feature. It's just not the way that I actually use LLMs. Is I don't need to keep it in folders because it's just kind of random stuff, as you can see through questions here. But I know a lot of people wanted that feature, and I wanted to let you know it is there. So if you're somebody who likes to have folders for specific types of chats, that is possible on ChatLLM. In regards to the models that are available, they do a really great job keeping up with the newest models. So Gemini 3 Pro, I think, was announced yesterday, maybe the day before, and it's here. You can see we have the whole GPT series, the Modern Claude series. What else is in here? Gemini Flash, that's a little older. GLM is here, DeepSeek's here, Qwen 3 Max, Kimi K2. We still have Llama in here. Perplexity Pro, I really like Perplexity Pro. That's one that's here too. So as you can see, there's lots of different models available. They do change this and update this as new models come out. So whatever I'm showing you right now, it could be different tomorrow. It just depends on what's launched. They keep it pretty up to date with the newest models. In regards to features, in all honesty, I don't use 90% of the features that are available here. So I'm only going to speak to the ones that I actually use. Image generation. I use this one a fair bit for creating the covers of YouTube videos, and mostly I just find it kind of fun. So there are a ton of models here, and they keep adding new models pretty continuously as they come out. So I'll just name a few of the bigger names that you're probably aware of, like GPT Image, Nano Banana, Image Gen 4, Midjourney's on here. Right here, we have Recraft, we have Ideogram, we have Qwen Image Edit, tons of video models, and this list is ever expanding. If you go back and watch some of my earlier videos, I think there were maybe only a few available, and as you can see now, there's quite a few more. So moving on, the next thing that I've used a couple of times is the PowerPoint. I haven't used this anywhere near recently enough to tell you what it can do today, but I can tell you that when I used it in the past, it would let you pick a template, and it'll basically make a PowerPoint for you based off whatever you upload. So it was something I found mildly amusing, but I honestly didn't really use it that much. Their deep research tool is not bad. At least last time I had used it, it wasn't bad. I wouldn't say it's the greatest that I ever used. Personally, I find that some of the other ones, I personally like the style more, but I also haven't used deep research in, probably at least a few months. So I can't speak to how it's doing right now, but they do have their own variety of deep research if that is something that you find value in. And then moving on, one of the ones that I actually do use just kind of for fun sometimes is video generation. Now you do have to be careful with video generation because it can use a lot of credits. So you can see they have a whole bunch of different models here from major model families. So we have the WAN ones, we have Sora 2, we have Veo. I will note, and they give you a warning here, that Veo 3.1 can use up to 35% of your credits. That is a ton of credits for one video, okay? So keep that in mind. They are pretty good about warning you when something is going to use a lot of credits to use. But if you want that sort of model available, it is here. There are all sorts of different video generation models, and they're pretty fast. I actually did a video for fun earlier. You can see like Raccoon, let me close that. Raccoon teaches forest comedy earlier. To give you an idea, that creating this 5-second video used 500 credits. I know it says it's not here, but if I refresh the page, it'll probably show up. Yeah, if I refresh the page, it shows up. So 500 credits to create the one video with WAN 2.5. Or that gives you an idea of how many credits are used to create a video with that specific model. And as you can see, my prompt wasn't very long. I was just bored and fooling around and wanted to see a video of a raccoon teaching a lesson because why not? It's kind of fun and funny. So those are some of the features that I really like. I can tell you some of the things that I have not used at all. I have not used lip sync, humanize, document generation, scrape URL, screenshot, video analysis, text to speech, speech to text, speech to speech. I have not used any of those things. They're just not how I interact with LLMs and not how I like to interact with LLMs. So I can't really speak to those. The other piece that I can't really speak to is their new desktop software. So they haven't, let me go back here. I think it advertises it. Yeah, so they have this new Abacus AI desktop. This has a bunch of different features. You can read about it on their website. I don't use it because I don't like downloading extra software onto my computer. It's just personal preference. I would rather interact with this through a web interface. And personally, I don't want to use any of the models that can control browsers and things like that, which that can help with. I just don't have any interest in that. It's not really what I'm using LLMs for. Oh, I forgot one of the best features that they added recently. Let's talk about that. So one of the things that drove me nuts for a long time is they used to charge extra for using the API. It's not extra anymore, to my knowledge. So now if you go up here and you click on your profile, you can go to the root LLM API, And when you go here, you can set up an API key, you can set up the expiration date, and you can see the list of available models. Now, I will note that this list of available models, at least last I looked at it closely, was a little bit different than the models that are available through the actual ChatLLM. And the inputs and outputs here are provided in terms of dollars, but from what I saw, it just uses my credits. So it's kind of hard to know what this means. Like when I looked at this, I was like, okay, Chat GPT 4.0 is going to cost more credits than GPT 4.0 mini, but it's not very transparent to me in terms of like actual credit usage, what that means without me doing math to figure it out. And I just ain't doing that. So I'm just going to scroll through here so that you can see what models are available as of November 19th, 2025, which is today. So you can see we have a whole bunch of the Chat GPT family, included all the way from I think they even had O3 in here, unless I missed it. Yeah, so O3, a bunch of variants. The 4-point family is in here. The 5-point family is in here, and they also have GPT OSS 120B. They also have a bunch of Anthropic models, so I'll just kind of slowly scroll through that so you can see what's here. They have some of the the Meta models, which are the Llama family. So I will scroll slowly through this. This is actually more than there were last time I looked. I'm actually impressed by this because, for example, this Llama 3.170B and the 405B were ones that I actually wanted to experiment with, but I don't think they were available last time I looked, so I'm going to have to check that out and try it just for fun. Let's see. Never even heard a 70B versatile before, so that's kind of cool. Moving on so that I don't get distracted, they have the Gemini family. They have some Quen family of models. This is a bigger set of Quen family models than last time I was in here. They have Grok, Kimi, DeepSeek stuff. I didn't know that they had GLM in here now too. So this is expanding. This is more than there was last time I was in here. Now, I will note that they say they offer OpenAI compatible API. They provide the URL and the rest of the information here in Python, TypeScript, and curl. So when I used this, all this did was show up on my actual account, and I will show you what that looks like now, what it looked like when I used the API last month. Okay, so here is what the credit usage log looks like. I did not actually use the API yet this month, but when I did use the API last month, it shows up over here just in an additional column. You can see it has UI, and then over here it would show root LLM API. I think that's what they call it, or it said via API. It basically added another column and told me my credit usage. Something that I'll mention is you can group it by LLM. So like here you can see I've used Claude Sonnet 4.5, I use GPT 4.0, blah, blah, blah. You can see all these things here grouped by the LLM if you prefer. I did find the credit usage to be very transparent. They tell you how many you use each day. But however, as I mentioned just a minute ago, I did not find it very transparent personally how the dollar amounts shown on the API translate to credits, other than more dollars equals more credits. Outside of that, I didn't find it particularly clear in terms of how much each would use, but it is what it is. This, I will say, in the last year that I've used ChatLLM, they change things frequently, and I don't think there's ever been a reversion. By what I mean, I don't think it's ever gotten worse. All of the features that they've added in have been things that I'm pretty happy about. For example, I love being able to access ChatLLM through the API now. And as of today, when I saw there's a bunch more models on there than when I checked, a week or two ago or a month ago, whatever it was, I'm really happy about that because it just gives me more options to use that via API. So for somebody who just likes to experiment with a bunch of different LLMs, but not necessarily do super heavy tasks with them, the $10 a month tier of ChatLLM has been awesome to me, and I will continue to recommend it to people who use LLMs like I use LLMs, where I just have some questions that need to be answered from time to time. Maybe I do a heavy coding session occasionally, but not very often. For me, this has worked out pretty well. Things I don't like. If it is the first 3/4 of the month, so the first 3 weeks in a 4-week month, if I use 75% of my credits, it would tell me basically, you've used 75% of your credits for the month. We're going to switch you to Route LLM so that you don't use up your remaining credits. And then it kicks you over to cheaper models. And I honestly don't remember what models it kicks me over to. I was just irritated. I don't like being told how I can spend my stuff that I've already paid for. Like, in my mind, if I wanted to use my entire month's worth of credits in one day, I should be allowed to do that. It didn't let me do that, and that drove me crazy because, for example, when I jumped over here and I had forgotten that I got to my credit limit and I just wanted to use Perplexity Pro real quick to look up a question and it wouldn't let me do that. It was really freaking annoying. So that would be my major complaint about ChatLLM, is hitting that credit limit and being told you can't use this until it's later in the month. That really annoyed me. But in my mind, that's a relatively small trade-off, considering that I think I've only hit that limit in 2 months of the 12 that I've been subscribed, because I've used this for a year now. I think I've only hit that limit twice, and gotten that warning. So speed might be something that you guys are wondering about real quick. And to be clear, this is something that I'm happy with. I know I'm talking about things I don't like, but real quick, I'll just show you like what is the largest falcon in the world. We'll just ask a simple question from Perplexity Pro. It'll kick back a response pretty quickly here. I've always been pretty happy with the speed of ChatLLM. I've never had cases where it was super slow or anything weird like that. It's always worked pretty well. So I honestly can't think of anything else I don't particularly like about ChatLLM. Really, the only thing is when I used up my credits early in the month and then it would kick me over to Route LLM. For the record, I don't like the Route LLM thing. It's a conceptual issue for me. It doesn't really have anything to do with the implementation of it. The implementation of it's probably fine. I just don't like LLMs choosing what LLM I should use. I want to be able to pick my LLM, and so that's why it annoyed me when I was using up my credits and it said, we're going to switch you over to Route LLM so you don't go over. I didn't want it to do that. And yes, I could still go in and choose the cheaper model if I looked up what the cheaper model was. So like, let's say, hypothetically speaking, that the cheap model is Gemini Flash. I could still go in here and choose Gemini Flash and it probably would have worked just fine. So, the other thing is when I hit, this goes with the dislikes and has a connection to the API. So when I did hit the credit warning where I had used more than 75% in the first few weeks, the API then stopped working, because with the API, I was trying to call a model that I thought should work. I was trying to use OSS 120B, and I basically would get no response from the server. I only tried once or twice, and then I just got frustrated and pushed it aside. But I think for the casual user of LLMs, this is a great system. If you're just using it for, general conversations, things like that, and you're not using it a lot. If you're somebody who's doing tons of coding with LLMs, there's probably other platforms where you can get much more access to some of the models than others, but it really depends. You need to look at, if you're interested in this, look up ChatLLM's billing page and they will tell you what models you can use on an unlimited basis. I don't remember exactly what that is off the top of my head, but they do have some that you can use basically unlimited, and that is probably really helpful for some of you. If you're doing coding, maybe one of those models works well. I don't know, because I don't do a lot of coding, and when I do, it's usually not a bunch of back and forth. It's usually like, make this one page for me kind of thing. So to get to a summary, again, ChatLLM has a lot of cool features. I don't use 90% of them because it's just not the way I interact with LLMs. But if you're someone like me who sometimes wants to generate some images, sometimes or very occasionally wants to create a video, I showed this video earlier, the raccoon teaching a bunch of animals how to go to, what was it? It was like how to rate a dumpster like a pro or something like that. We're just creating a goofy video every now and again. It's been a great service for that. It's been a great service for me for getting hands-on with understanding the pros and cons of using something like Claude as opposed to ChatGPT, as opposed to Gemini or DeepSeek or Qwen. Lots of different models here that you can choose from, and they keep it up to date. So when the brand new model comes out, it's usually on the site within a day or two tops. And so, I don't have to listen to my friends talk about, oh, GLM is so cool. I can just go use GLM right here in ChatLLM with everything else. And as I mentioned, if you are somebody who likes desktop software, they do have this Abacus AI desktop. I just have no experience with it, so I don't really want to speak to it. So I hope this provides some clarity about how my year with ChatLLM has been. As of now, I plan to keep using it because it's $10 a month, and most of the time, I don't hit my $10 a month limit. Now, I will say, if I start to hit my $10 a month limit, I am going to go elsewhere. I don't personally find a need to pay $20 a month for an LLM. I don't think I use LLMs, at least these big LLMs. I don't use big LLMs $20 a month worth of value for me personally. That doesn't mean that you might not. But for me personally, I don't feel that I get $20 a month worth of value. But I definitely get $10 a month worth of value. And I say that when, you can see from November, let's go back. So starting in November, you can see I had, maybe 8 or 10 chats on November 2nd, and then a couple randomly spaced throughout here. And honestly, this is my normal usage of the big models and how often I would use ChatLLM. I don't use it all that frequently. It's just most of my stuff is on private local LLMs, and then I use the big models when I need to do something that my local models can't do, which is relatively rare. So if you're like me and just like exploring some of these big models, like having one place to go to all these big models and don't want to pay a bunch of money, ChatLLM might be a good product for you. It's pretty easy to cancel. On the profile page, there's a cancel button. So I really haven't had any concerns about that. So to conclude, I have put a referral link in the description. I am not special by any means with ChatLLM. Everyone who uses ChatLLM has a referral link. If you look up here at the top, you see this refer and invite button. Anyone can click that. So if you sign up with the ChatLLM link, they credit my account $5 or something like that. So if you do end up watching this video and you found it helpful and you want to sign up for ChatLLM, please consider using that link. I very, very much appreciate it. But also, please don't feel in any way, shape, or form obliged to use that link, right? Please feel free to if you want to. I would appreciate hearing your guys' thoughts on ChatLLM and how you use it down in the chat. So in the comments section, if you are someone who's tried this service recently, I'd be really interested to know what you like and don't like about it. I think it's really good for people to be able to have that sort of open and honest conversation. That's why I've tried to tell you guys what I do like about ChatLLM and what I don't. For me, it's mostly things I do like. The only thing I don't like is being told I can't use my last 25% of credits until the last week of the month. That still really gets to me. It kind of drives me bonkers. But that said, I've generally been pretty happy with ChatLLM. There haven't been any billing errors or anything like that. It's always been $10 a month, and there hasn't been any silliness or any drama or anything like that. So that said, I hope this video has been helpful for you guys. If you have any questions about it, please let me know. Like I said, I haven't tried their actual standalone software at all. I just use the chat interface and the API. So if you have questions about the desktop software, I'm not going to be able to answer it because I'm not going to download it. Otherwise, thank you guys. Please like and subscribe to help support the channel. And if you have any questions, I'm happy to try and answer them. Thank you, and I hope you have an absolutely wonderful afternoon.